January 1998. In the heart of eastern Canada, winter had settled in, blanketing the land in its familiar chill. People went about their routines bracing against the cold, but confident in the predictability of the season. No one suspected that the coming days would bring a disaster unlike anything they had ever seen. A gentle rain fell, nothing unusual, or so it seemed. The sound of droplets tapping on windows was almost soothing, a welcome break from the biting wind. For many, it was just another winter night, the kind that made you grateful for a warm home and a hot drink. But this was no ordinary rain. High above, a layer of warm air collided with the frigid ground, creating the perfect conditions for something far more sinister. The rain, invisible and silent, was about to change everything. Supercooled droplets froze instantly on contact, layering everything in ice. Trees, power lines, and roads vanished beneath a growing crystal shell. The world transformed overnight, beautiful yet menacing. What had started as a gentle rain became a relentless force, encasing the landscape in a thick, glassy armor. The weight of the ice grew hour by hour, bending trees and stretching power lines to their limits. Then, the silence shattered. Branches cracked, power lines snapped, and transformers exploded in eerie flashes. One by one, lights died. The hum of daily life faded into a chilling silence. This wasn't a blizzard you could see coming. It was a stealthy invasion. Neighborhoods became obstacle courses of fallen trees and downed wires. The infrastructure that powered modern life was dismantled by the weight of ice. Streets that had been familiar were now treacherous, blocked by debris and shimmering with danger. The city's heartbeat slowed, replaced by the distant echo of breaking wood and the occasional pop of a transformer succumbing to the cold. Inside, families lit candles, expecting a brief outage. But as hours stretched into days, the novelty turned to dread. Radios, for those with batteries, delivered grim news. The storm was massive, help was slow. Millions were plunged into darkness and cold, forced to rely on what they had at home. The adventure quickly became a test of survival. The world outside glittered with danger. Inside, the cold crept in. People huddled together for warmth, rationing food and water, listening for updates and hoping for rescue. The sense of isolation grew as the days dragged on, and the realization set in. This was a disaster on a scale few had ever experienced. People realized this was no ordinary storm, it was a crisis. The silence was profound, the darkness complete. The storm had arrived quietly, but its impact would echo for weeks. The struggle for warmth and light had only just begun. The true test was about to start. In the days ahead, communities would be pushed to their limits, neighbors would become lifelines, and the resilience of thousands would be put to the ultimate test. The great ice storm struck without borders, a relentless force of nature that swept across the land with chilling indifference. It united Canada and the US in crisis, as neighbors on both sides of the border faced the same overwhelming threat. Eastern Ontario and Ottawa were hit hardest. Their power grids shattered in an instant, plunging entire cities and towns into darkness and uncertainty. Montreal and Quebec became the infamous Triangle of Darkness, a region where the lights vanished and hope flickered in the cold. Across northern New York, small towns were cut off from the world, isolated and powerless, their residents left to fend for themselves as the storm raged on. The storm erased boundaries, forging a vast region of darkness and cold that stretched for hundreds of miles, connecting cities, towns, and countryside in shared hardship. Rural communities, first to lose power, were the hardest to reach, stranded by impassable roads and cut off from help for days. Repair crews faced a daunting task, navigating ice-laden forests and roads, often risking their own safety to restore even a glimmer of electricity. In cities, a single downed transmission tower could leave tens of thousands in the dark, transforming bustling neighborhoods into silent, frozen streets. Life shrank to the bare essentials: warmth, food, water. Modern concerns vanished, replaced by the struggle to survive each frigid night. The storm redrew the map of daily life. Millions waited in the cold and dark, hoping for rescue and wondering when the lights would return. As the blackout dragged on, survival became the daily focus. Every morning began with the same question: how would we keep warm, and how would we get through another day without power? Without power, homes grew as cold as the outdoors. The chill crept in through every crack, making even the simplest tasks, like getting out of bed or washing up, a test of willpower. Families huddled in the warmest room, layered in winter clothes, sharing beds for warmth. The living room became a refuge, a place where everyone gathered, hoping to hold on to a little heat. Food spoiled quickly. People stored perishables outside and cooked on barbecues or fireplaces. Mealtimes became creative, with neighbors sharing supplies and recipes, turning necessity into a kind of community ritual. Water was scarce, some melted snow, others rationed what little they had. Every drop was precious, and collecting snow became a daily chore, often done in the biting wind. Nights were long and dark, lit only by candles and oil lamps. Shadows danced on the walls, and the silence felt heavier after sunset, broken only by the crackle of a fire or the whisper of voices. Battery radios were the only link to the outside world. News updates were rare but precious, offering both hope and a reminder that we weren't alone in this struggle. Children's excitement faded to anxiety. The elderly faced real danger. Parents tried to keep spirits up, but worry was always present, especially for those most vulnerable. The silence was unsettling, the isolation profound. Streets that once bustled with life were now empty and still, blanketed in snow and darkness. Each day was a repeat of the last. Find warmth, find food, wait. The routine was exhausting, but it gave a sense of purpose, a way to mark the passing hours. The stress was relentless, but so was the resilience. People checked on neighbors, shared what little they had, and found strength in small acts of kindness. Families found comfort in simple pleasures, games by candlelight, stories by the fire. Laughter and togetherness became the best defense against the cold and the dark. The storm stripped life to its essentials, revealing what truly mattered: warmth, connection, and the hope that tomorrow would be brighter. Amid chaos, communities came together. Neighbors checked on each other, shared warmth, food, and shelter. Those with resources helped the vulnerable. Four-wheel drives delivered supplies. Emergency shelters opened, offering safety and hot meals. Utility workers and military braved the ice, working around the clock to restore power. The sight of a utility truck brought hope to darkened streets. The crisis erased barriers. Strangers became friends, united by survival. The storm revealed the true strength of community. The numbers tell the story. 5 waves of freezing rain coated 100,000 square kilometers in ice. Over 4 million lost power. Some waited weeks for restoration. At least 35 lives were lost, and damages topped $5.4 billion. Quebec alone lost 1,000 steel towers and 30,000 wooden poles. Farms and maple syrup producers suffered devastating losses. Recovery was massive. Thousands of workers and troops cleared debris for months. The storm exposed the fragility of modern life and the scale of rebuilding required. The ice storm left lasting lessons. It revealed our vulnerability and the need for preparedness. Governments strengthened grids, trimmed trees, and improved emergency plans. Families stocked up on supplies, generators, and emergency kits. The crisis fostered self-reliance and deeper community bonds. The scars remain, but so does the story of resilience and connection. In the coldest, darkest moments, people found warmth in each other.